everyone, it's Mrs. Harrison here again for the beginning of another week. I am going to be reading some more modern stories this week because I do appreciate last week they were all very old books from when I was younger. These ones less so. So we're starting the week with The Squirrels Who Squabbled. I have to take my glasses off because I'm having to read this from a tablet and it's quite difficult. Right. In a towering forest where summer had been, the cool air bit fresh and the mosses grew green. And as autumn edged in and the sky raged red, the sleepiest creatures got ready for bed. While up in a tree swung a flighty young squirrel who everyone knew as Spontaneous Cyril. He's got a very smiley face. If you just look here, this is Spontaneous Cyril. Doesn't look like he's got a care in the world. Now, most foresty folk had seen to their needs through the plentiful months of mushrooms and seeds. They'd built up their stores so they'd all be well fed through the frosting of winter that glittered ahead. But Cyril, he lived in the now and the here. He'd adventured and partied his way through the year, so his cupboards were empty. His hollow was bare. He hadn't a mouthful of food anywhere. So Cyril, unlike all of his other foresty friends, wasn't bothered about saving food for the winter. He was having too much fun. He didn't really care about thinking about the future, and now he hasn't got any food. But wait, what was that? Over there, take a look. A single lone pine cone wedged in a nook. He squealed with delight, and for very good reason. For inside were the very last nuts of the season. But Cyril wasn't alone. There were more hungry eyes. Yes, plan ahead Bruce and his sights on the prize. Though he'd gathered a mountain of bounty, hard fought, Bruce was convinced he was one pinecone short. I simply must have it, he wistfully cried, as he dreamt of the fresh, juicy pine nuts inside. So you can see here, Bruce has already got all of these pine cones and all of these fruits and nuts ready for the winter, but he has to have this last one as well, he thinks. So, as Cyril set off on his way to the ground, Bruce, he was also last pine cone bound. They sprinted and scurried, with no time to gamble. They scratched at the bark of their scampering scramble. There they go, look, scrambling up the tree to try and get there. But their panic and haste shook the tips of the spruce and the pine cone. It trembled and then it came loose. Both squirrels gave chase at a lightning pace. This was the start of a wild, nutty race. "It's mine!" shouted Cyril. "No, mine!" hollowed Bruce. "You don't stand a chance! Give up! It's no use!" "I'm hungry!" cried Cyril. "The cone, it's not yours!" "Stay back!" shouted Bruce. "This cone's for my stores." It bonged over bushes and flew through the air. It binged on the nose of a slumbering bear. It bounced over boulders, then came to a stop. Look, there's a bear here. Then teetered and wobbled and quivered and plop. Both squirrels followed. Oh, the water was fast. Would they learn that they needed each other at last? But each was intent on how he could win, so they didn't quite notice a bird sweeping in. Cyril and Bruce, they watched in dismay as their cone disappeared. Up, up, up and away. "Come back!" shouted Cyril. "There are nuts!" exclaimed Bruce. But all hope was gone. It was simply no use. And meanwhile they drifted right up to the ledge. Greed, it was driving them over the edge. Now this is a slightly difficult page to read because it's sideways. Cyril and Bruce, they had taken a fall. They were paying the price for wanting it all. They'd squandered their chances to team up and share. Would their nutty young hopes simply end in despair? Bruised and bedraggled, they swept past dry land. Cyril grabbed at a branch with a trembling hand. Catching Bruce with the other, he heaved and he huffed and dragged him to safety with panting and puffs. They stared at the sky, quite lost deep in thought, until Bruce looked at Cyril and let out a snort. "How silly we are," he proclaimed, all a jiggle. "How greedy I've been," spluttered Bruce with a giggle. "We shall change from today. May the squabbling cease. We should celebrate, seeing we're both in one piece." And from that day forward, they made a great pair. They would gather together and found they could share. It's a lovely picture. You can see all of the animals sharing their forestry food. Yes, Cyril and Bruce, they knew in the end the best thing to share is a laugh with your friend. So they realised in the end that it's definitely best to work together. And that's something that is really important for us all to remember, particularly in these times at the moment when people are a bit stressed about things and worried. Sometimes it's easy just to look out for yourself, but it's always worth remembering that you get more done when you look out for your friends and your neighbours, and including your brothers and sisters as well. Okay, thank you everyone, and I will be back tomorrow with another story. Goodbye.